Hello, Gunner James 105. So out in the country, out in the fresh air, and it's about 6:30 p.m. So I've got about another hour and a half daylight, so that I'm out here in time to talk to you a little bit about my Ski Doo, and then after I'm done making this video, I'll take probably my last blast of the winter bombing around this field, because what was a very, very cold, pretty much all of February through the middle of March, we were into the minus 35s and we had a lot of wind, so the wind chill was sometimes, if you're out in the open, it'd be getting close to minus 50. So this was February, March, and now this last 2 weeks is looking like, or it's already been, gradually warming up, and we're looking at next week 12 above or so by Wednesday, Thursday. And so all of this here could be disappearing rather rapidly. It's already for a lot of the roads and some areas, I mean, the snow has disappeared. And in some of the fields, you can see a lot of the stubble, and it's just not that deep. I mean, where I am right now, I'm gonna call it maybe a foot of snow in this open field, which is plenty for what I need to do. Like I say, unless I can get out maybe one more night or something this week. Got a headlight, so driving in the dark's not a problem. And so this here then is my 1975 Ski Doo Olympique. I'll give you some close-ups. It's a little dusty from sitting in the shed, but otherwise, when I got this, it was probably 10 years ago or so, maybe a little longer than that, and it was really rough. The hood was cracked, and then it had been repaired with a lot of rivets. It was quite a Frankenstein looking hood. It was functional, but it didn't look very nice, and so I got a hold of another hood. It was cracked in places, but I had a professional body man glue where it was cracked. He glued that together and he painted this thing, and then I got a decal kit. So the decals, I haven't finished putting it on. There's needs to be it's like a fluorescent yellow here that wraps around, and then this is new, and some of these decals up here are new. There's some more I can replace, and so I had done a lot of work. I've had the engine out and tightened up all the steering linkages, made sure all that was good and greased and all underneath. And then you've got to get this all back in and get the belt all lined up just so. And I had replaced the headlight because the whole housing was rusty. So there's things here and there. This is the original seat that needed to have some sewing done. Got a new tail light, but yeah, did some painting. It's not any kind of an expert, or I'm not an expert, and so this is not. It will do. It looks. I think it looks pretty good. So as much as one wants to spend money on things, there's only so much to go around, and so my initial investment that 10 years ago or so was probably about $250, and I may have put in over the years $300 in parts and pieces and that sort of thing. So this is 75 Ski Doo Olympique 340, and 340 is the cc's of this engine. So I'm going to take the camera off the stand, maybe pop the hood open here, and give you a look around and start it up. You can have a listen, and then maybe I'll hop on and do a couple of passes. You can watch this thing in motion. So let me grab this camera. Okay, so this is pretty much middle of the roads. They had, of course, larger engines, 440 and TNT, and then they had maybe a smaller type snowmobile Ski Doo around these years, the Elan, and they had one that had a big ski in the front, and forget the name of that one, Alpine or something, I can't remember, but yeah, so this one here is trying to the sun is getting low, so I hope I'm not blinding you at any point. Coming around the other side. So yeah, you can see it's getting it's gotten a little dusty. Needs a little cleanup. I'll do that later this summer. Spring is officially here on the calendar, that is, next week. And so we'll move on to the next season. I don't mind. I'm ready for it. And so, yeah, basically, I'm not planning on having a shot, I guess, of my license plate. That's not necessary, but yeah, you got a little strap, which is pretty much like a seatbelt strap on the back here for your passenger. Passenger can sit on the back there, and you can have them go for a ride. You can also hook a toboggan maybe on the back and pull some people on that there too. But you got the headlight bright and dim switch there, and this is your kill switch. So basically you shut it off by pushing it in, and then let that come back out again so you can start it. And that'll be your throttle and your brake. And the brake actually works pretty good, and the brake light comes on in the back, and the tail light comes on as well as the headlight works fine. And this primer down here, it works real good. That's actually the exact same primer. Matter of fact, I got it from a fella that he's got a little ultralight plane, a Bombardier, which is who made this. Bombardier made this, and so that primer that's on his airplane is mine was no good, and he had the spare. So this is basically the same thing as on his ultralight aircraft. Some of these they're little fancier models. Up in those holes, you would have a speedometer and a tachometer. So a speedometer one side, tachometer on the other. That'd be kind of a cool option. This is the fuel tank. So fuel cap, and of course it's going to take a mixture I use premium gas, and then it's an Opti 2 as opposed to, you can get all kinds of two-stroke oil, but it just makes it easy for mixing. And so I've got some things to finish. I haven't put the there's latches on both sides that need to go in here. Where are we? There we are. That turn and fasten the hood down on the inside, so that if you're doing any bouncing around, your hood's not flying up. And so simply lifting like so, and you can see, oh, my chain has come undone. Yeah, that's not good. Hang on while I hook that back up. Well, unfortunately that little cable, which holds the hood forward, so that would fasten up here, that I've lost a piece off of there, so I'll have to get a new one. But anyways, that's some of the repair work that was done on the inside. You can see gluing and patching. And this one here has been modified a bit. There's supposed to be a air box sitting there for the air cleaner, because your carburetor is there. So I've just got a little K&N filter on there. So it's an little air cooled. Got the muffler up front, and then your belt and clutch and everything are all under here. And so, for those that are familiar with snowmobiles, Ski-Doos, and all that sort of thing, this is elementary stuff. But anyways, 2 cylinders, couple of spark plug wires and plugs underneath there, all fresh stuff, so it starts and runs pretty good. And I'll try and just give you that view. There we go. So I haven't run it for a few minutes here, so we'll just see if it... So that's the sound. I'm going to put this up on the tripod now, and I'm going to do a little drive-by, and you can see what she looks like when she runs. So the windshield's a little weird. It got out of shape, and I had to heat it with a heat gun to kind of bring it back. And so one day I'm going to replace that. I might go with a little shallower windshield, but... And so I will take a little drive here. Hang tight. Too much fun. I'm gonna have some more fun. So, with the not so smooth ride, at least not for the camera anyways, it's not that bad, but it's kind of hard to hold her steady. I should have had a passenger. So holding this camera steady while driving is a little tough, but this here was something that I was busy with last summer. So this took me away from one of the many projects I had as far as my absence on many of the months that went by, no videos, but trying to get back at it here. Got a lot of stuff to show you, but what we got then is the beginnings of a homemade range. So got a bit of a backstop and some clay built up there, and so, you know, this would not be the perfect time to be shooting because you sure wouldn't want it. That looks like an expensive beast, but he's not always there. They pass by once in a while. That's on the other side of the fence. So this is going to be in use here. We've tried it. I've been out here a few times in the winter, and actually did just threw a blanket down, did some prone shooting, and did some standing, and so it's been used a bit this winter as well. And as I said, when it got really cold and windy, it wasn't much fun to be out here. So now that things are improving and improving rapidly, then we'll get to use this more. And that's kind of why some of the videos I'm doing, I haven't. I've got a few rifles, etc., to do a video on, and I wanted to do some shooting as well. And so once we get things set up out here, we don't really have things marked out as far as an official yards, meters, maybe a shooting bench or that sort of thing. That's all coming yet. But I was planning on doing some videos on the rifles and do some shooting. So this, you'll be seeing a bit more of this in the months to come. So thanks for watching.